real estate in the Charlotte market and beyond. I'm Ann Rudd, broker and owner of the Ann Rudd Group at LPT Realty. And welcome. Happy Wednesday to you today. I hope that you've had a good week so far. We're going to talk about some interesting stuff today. So, first of all, I want to talk about a little bit of a division within the real estate world. And so, I'm going to tell you a little story. There's a company out there that's done some innovative things over the years and has, I don't have a negative impression of the firm. There's not many firms I have negative impressions of, but it's a real estate company that has gone a little bit off the path of marketing homes, and they have decided that they will allow home sellers to decide whether or not they want their homes to be listed on the MLS and other websites out there. Okay. And so here's how this happens. If you're a member of a real estate board and an MLS and you put a house on the market, that house goes into the MLS first and then is fed out through hundreds, thousands of different websites. All of these websites in one form or another pay for access. Zillow pays for access. Realtor.com pays for access. All of my website pays for access so that the listings can be fed to all of these other websites. Now, before websites were a thing, real estate companies would get together and they would put together a book of all the listings, and it would be updated by the board every week. So you have a new listing, you submit it, the firm submits it to the board gets their big printer out and prints all these books, and then the books are distributed to the firms every week, and some get taken out, some get added, and this is how they did real estate back in the day. So Compass Realty has decided that they're going to take listings off. And there's a little bit of a wrinkle in this. Our boards that are connected with National Association of Realtor, which I am not a fan of, okay, have decided to have a set of rules tied to a phrase called clear cooperation. If I list a home as coming soon, I have a certain amount of time to make it active on the MLS. I can't show the house if it's in coming soon status. I have to follow a bunch of rules about, how a home is marketed. Compass has decided that they are going to give sellers the opportunity to keep their homes off the MLS if they want, which is everybody's right to do so. And they're going to put together these books, just like I had talked about earlier, with their listings. Now, there's been a wrinkle in all of this, okay, and I am very briefly paraphrasing this, okay. I'm not getting into the weeds with it because this is changing, and frankly, I know about it. I know what's going on. Have I dug in super deep? I do not want to go down that rabbit hole. Okay. But what's happened is now we have sort of a division. Okay. We have Compass over here that's like, stuff shouldn't have to go on the MLS. Okay. And Zillow over here is now saying, if you have off-market properties that you're trying to market through us, if they are not on the MLS, we will not list them. Okay. So they're taking the side of the real estate commissions and some of their policies. Okay. And that's what's happening. And it's a little bit of a division. It's getting a little bit amped up because Compass came out and said that they're doing a Compass private exclusive book collection of Compass private exclusives available for viewing only through Compass agents. So they're going to keep all of those homes in-house. So only Compass agents have an opportunity to show them. So, that firm is kind of trying to carve out a piece of the business just for their agents. And Zillow has come back and said, yeah, no, we're not having this. So we've got a division right now. I don't know how this will shake out or if it will escalate further, but I am interested in this because ultimately I think that the real estate body, National Association of Realtors, has made decisions about how a seller can market their property that is not always in the best interest of the seller. And I can see with the lawsuits that we had last year that many of them finished up last year with settlements. And then a few more this year are finishing up settlement process. Those settlements and the way they were settled did nothing but throw buyers and sellers straight under a bus. And the National Association of Realtors is continuing to roll over buyers and sellers and agents. So I'm not a big fan of having rules about how sellers can market their home. If they want their house off the market and they only want agents in a certain firm to show those homes, they ought to have the right to do that. My opinion. I don't think that, however, keeping your home off the market so that you don't have visibility, unless there's something, that's super private, super confidential that you don't want anybody knowing about, then absolutely you have the right to do that. And it's not my job to judge that. If you came to me and said, Ann, I've got a house I want to sell, I don't want the interior home photos of my home on the market, I don't want them out there, then that's okay. Then we've got a what we call a firm exclusive. It's going to stay off the market. I'm going to market to agents directly. It's going to take some time. You're going to have to be patient with me, but this is what you do. But then Zillow has come out and said, well, if you've got it off the market, you're doing an in-house listing, we're not listing it. So it's just an interesting little battle right now. Some of it's a little tit for tat. Some of it's more like, we're trying to protect the interests of our sellers. I don't have an issue with any of that. Whatever it is, go for it. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. What I'm having an issue with is a body that has no ties to a seller. They have ties to the agent, but them telling a seller, you will do this, you will not do this, I have an issue with it. I think it is an issue with personal freedom, and I'm not a big fan. So there you go. That's kind of the battle going on in real estate right now. I want to show you something that I saw yesterday, and I am switching. We're going to talk about a few things today. I'm not going to make this go over, but I wanted to show you this because I think this is super interesting. And I'm going to show you why. From time to time, I hear, and I think I've talked about it here recently, I am hearing from some sellers who were having concerns about the real estate market. I had a house that came off the market a couple weeks ago because of the concerns for the economy. But this isn't, if you have concerns about what's going on in the real estate market, watch this show because we focus on the Charlotte metro region. In the Charlotte metro region, although I would not say it's a crazy strong market, it is a solid market. I would not say it's weighted heavily towards a buyer or seller right now. It's a little bit more balanced. Our inventory is increasing. Sales prices are still going up. So it's not super friendly for buyers, but I think that our market generally is not bad. But here we have, my mouse is doing it again. Keep my finger off the mouse. Over 2/3 of Americans have paid off their mortgage or have less than 50% or have at least 50% equity. Well, that's big because what I'm hearing a lot is like, we're going to have more foreclosures. And a few months ago, an influencer on YouTube posted an article or a graph about foreclosures going up. And it was a true graph about foreclosures going up. But what he did not say was that foreclosures are going up for office buildings and commercial space. Yes, foreclosures are rising. Why is it rising? Because people are working from home. Look at all that stuff that went on, earlier this year with the president getting people back to work in Washington, D.C. This is going on all over the place. A lot more people work from home than they ever have. And so ultimately, we're not going to have the commercial space being used. And I'm actually seeing some of those like office type buildings being turned into condominiums because we need more housing, not more offices. Makes sense? So we are not in a market or in a foreclosure period, high foreclosure period. And this is part of the reason why. 39.3% of Americans own their home free and clear. And let's see, in this one, mortgage home with greater than 50% equity is 29.3%. Okay. 31.4% have less than 50% equity. This might be the largest owner of wealth in the country, is all of these people with owning homes free and clear or sub 50% equity or more than 50% equity. And here's another little chart about foreclosures, and delinquency is going down. Okay. Now you can see, I love charts and graphs, and you can see what's happened. Look at 2008. This is March 2009, March 2010. And then after that, things start going down, 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 down. And then we went to March 2020, and we know what happened there, right? Everybody got locked down. Okay. People couldn't go to work. We as real estate agents, we didn't know what was going on. So things got kind of funky there. And then it peaked really early in 2023, and then it's gone back down. And look at where it is right now. Like we're at like this line right here is 3%. And March 2025, we were a little bit above 3%. So 3.21%. This is the average right here at 3.91%. This is a record low for us. This is low. This is low. So there right now, okay, we got two things going on. We have people, a lot of people, right, that have either owned their homes outright, almost 40% of homeowners, and then almost 30% of the rest of those have equity at 50% or more in their home. So we've got 70% of Americans that have significant equity in their property, and we have record low delinquency rates. So I'm not seeing any sort of market crash. I'm not seeing any sort of reset. I certainly am not seeing it here in the Charlotte market. We can't build housing fast enough here. Okay. So, and then I'm going to add one more little piece to this, because I am hearing this a lot. We're in a recession. Are we in a recession? Nobody really knows. But I want to show you this, because if you think housing prices drop during a recession, I want to caution you to think about this differently. Okay. In a recession, typically things are not great with the stock market, and investors are looking for solid, stable, safe investments. And except for since 1980, except for two recessions, we have seen home prices increase in a recessionary period. Now, 2008 is a different story, because there was some funky stuff going on in the real estate market and in the mortgage industry, and that actually crashed the economy. So this is expected. This is not the norm. And I think for a lot of our younger people in the United States, this is kind of this is sort of their Alamo a little bit, right? This is what they remember. If you were, 10, 11, 12 in 2008 and your family went through a housing crisis, you will never forget 2008. And you may even think that 2008 was a normal situation, and it was not. And I do hear quite often, well, I'm waiting for another market crash. We've never had a market crash that involved our market crashing the economy. Now, have we seen periods where prices came down a little bit and then started going back up? Absolutely. But 2008, to say it was an anomaly, was absolutely the truth. And it's sometime I'll talk about why 2008 and the month or the years before 2008 was such the wild, wild west of real estate, because truly there was some funky stuff going on. I saw it. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people sort of took it and ran with it, and it caused a lot of problems. Now, look at 1991. Housing went down 1.9%. So if you knock out 2008, okay, and we go back to 1980 recession, housing prices increased 6.1%. 1981, housing prices increased 3.5%. 91, it went down 1.9%. 2001, it went up 6.6%. 08, everything crashed. And then 2020, housing prices went up 6%. So you can see normal recessionary periods where home prices are increasing about 6%. So, if you're waiting to buy with the idea that the market's going to crash, it's not, at least not in this market, not in the Charlotte metro region. And if you wait, what's the cost of waiting? There's my question to you today. So keep an eye on this. We'll watch this. I like these numbers. I like these charts, and I like these graphs. And I think it's a really, really interesting conversation to have with everyone. So, yeah, that's what I got. Now I got one more interesting thing. Okay. Now we talked about this a few weeks ago, and you guys know I'm super interested in this neighborhood. And look, I am not a Disney file. Okay. I'm not one of those people that goes to Walt Disney World. Get that thing out of my head. I'm not one of those people that goes to Walt Disney World every, year. I haven't been in a while. I did go to Universal this year, which is really cool. But we talked about this neighborhood in Pittsboro area coming to town, and it is a Disney themed neighborhood. And so last month, a plan was submitted to Chatham County for their first phase of development. Okay. So they went to the planning board last month, and the neighborhood is called Asteria. I think I'm saying that right. I might not be. The first phase will contain 494 homes. Okay. And it's spread around 200 acres. So, that math is about a half an acre a lot. And will include 343 single family homes, 57 townhomes, 50 duplexes, and 44 quadplexes. Okay. And home prices, I'm looking here because they talked about it. I think that the home prices, they said we're going to start in the six figures. I don't know if that just means single family. There is a second community. This is the second community Disney is building. And right here, it says the other one is called Cotino in Rancho Mirage, California. And homes there sell for around $2 million. I'm sorry, homes at the Asteria are expected to start in the six figures. Well, I haven't found many homes around here that haven't started in the six figures. Okay. So this is sort of the map of the community, and this, I guess, phase 1A. Anyway, um, they're going to break ground in November on the development. Um, in November 2024, that they say they were going to break ground this year, and that the first homes would be for sale in 2027. I'm wondering if there's going to be a pre-sale for those. I'm really interested in this, but I don't want to go out there right now. I'm going to go because for whatever reason, this just fascinates me, and maybe part of it is because I've been down to Celebration in the Orlando area, which is also it's a Disney community, and it feels great. Like, they spend a lot of time thinking about aesthetics, and I think that if you know anything about Disney, the feel of Disney is very important to that company, and how you feel walking in that main street and how you feel walking through those worlds. That's the stuff that they do so well. And I've been to Celebration and I love that development. So we're going to watch this. So they're going to start, let's see, they're going to have over a period of time, 1,500 acres in the neighborhood with over 4,000 residential units. I don't know, but I suspect there will be some sort of commercial space over there at some point. I'll do some digging into the California neighborhood and see what that looks like. But man, this fascinates me. This just fascinates me. I've been to Pittsburgh. I like that part of the state. It's real pretty out there, and it's kind of rural. Clearly, it's not after 1,500 or 4,000 new homes go in, but it's still a good part of the state. And I'm going to go check it out one day. I want to kind of wait until they start. You can kind of envision what it looks like a little bit. I want to see if they'll put in some model homes and that sort of thing. But at some point, hopefully later this year, maybe in the fall, I'll ride out there one day and take a look. And this just fascinates me. So this is what I have for you today. I hope this was interesting to you. I'm just fascinated with this Disney neighborhood, and I absolutely don't know why, but I talk about things that interest me. I talk about things that I hear. And tomorrow we're going to talk about HOAs, because it's really getting to be an interesting, not good, interesting situation with North Carolina and the HOA situation and the leverage that HOAs have. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. I hope you have a great day. Happy hump day. And hope you will come back tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. every day. I've committed to this for a year. We've been doing this almost a month now, and I hope these shows have gotten better. I think I've gotten better, and I know that over time things will continue to improve. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you want to sign up for my newsletter, charlottemarketbuzz.com, CLTMARKETBUZZ.com. You'll get a newsletter every week about what we talked about and maybe some stuff to do over the weekend. But thanks so much for being here. Like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. Happy Wednesday. See you tomorrow. Bye.